So a bit of high drama in the past 10-12 hours in British boxing after Conor Benn fails a drug test leading in to his fight with Chris Eubank Jr. this weekend on pay-per-view and at the O2 Arena in London. Conor Benn apparently failed a drug test with Vada after they found adverse traces of a drug called clomiphene in his system, in his sample that he took in August. Yeah, it was August. And clomiphene is a drug, well, it's a fertility drug that women take when they're trying to get pregnant. So a lot of people were like, what the hell is Conor Benn doing taking this drug? But apparently if a man takes this drug, it increases testosterone levels in the body. And apparently men take this drug after they've been on a cycle of steroids. There's probably more to it than that, but, you know, that's just the basics of it, apparently. That if a guy takes this clomiphene or whatever, then he's been a bit of a naughty boy and he's been on the PEDs. This is what people are saying. It's like a masking agent, you know, to get your testosterone levels back up after you've been on the steroids. And if you're on steroids, your testosterone levels go down. So, you know, it's a bit of a sticky one because Conor Benn apparently passed all his drug tests with UKAD, who the British board used for all their anti-doping tests, etc. And apparently they didn't find anything. But Vada is something that the fighters have chosen themselves. This is a voluntary. You know, they've signed up for this voluntarily. They've wanted you Vada testing for this fight, and they've paid for Vada testing. And they're very full of Vada. Like, they go through everything. And apparently Conor Benn has had this substance in his system. And, you know, apparently now the British board, well, not apparently, they are not sanctioning this fight at the weekend. The British board of boxing control are not going to sanction this fight. They've prohibited it. And now, which came out in the last hour or so, that the Luxembourg Board of Control might have to sanction this fight at the weekend, which is crazy to me. But this has happened before. This had happened when Derek Chisora fought David Haye in 2012, because I think Derek Chisora was banned by the British Board of Boxing Control. So Frank Warren in Queensbury had to get a special license from Luxembourg so they could sanction the fight in the UK. It was weird. And apparently Eddie Hearn might have to do that himself this weekend. But it's a bit of a different situation because Derek Chisora wasn't banned for PEDs. He was banned because he got a final strike, you know, for his behaviour at press conferences. You know, after that big kickoff with him and David Haye, got banned. So I'm not sure if David Haye was banned as well. I know Derek Chisora was banned. So yeah, it's a bit of a different situation because if they allow this fight, knowing that Conor Benn potentially has been a drug cheat, then it just morally, it just doesn't look good for Matchroom. And I know millions of pounds are still on the table, you know what I mean? This fight is going to generate a lot of money. A lot of people have paid to go see this fight. A lot of people don't care. A lot of people have paid to go and see this fight at the weekend. They paid for hotels, they paid for the pay-per-view, etc., etc. So they don't care. They just want to see a fight. But, you know, you got to think morally sometimes. Like, if something did happen to Chris Eubank Jr. at the weekend, and I know it's a very slim chance of something happening, even though Conor Benn has failed this drug test, but if something did happen and Chris Eubank Jr. ended up with an injury, and God forbid a brain injury or something like that, you know what I mean, then it just puts the whole sport in disarray. They'll be up shit creek without a paddle. Matchroom, you know, the British board, that's where they're getting out of this. They're not having any part of this. But Matchroom and the Zone, you know, it just looks bad if something did happen. And you just can't take that risk, in my opinion. You know, I think they shouldn't go on with this fight at the weekend. And I know a lot of people will be disappointed and a lot of people will feel let down. But, you know, if Conor Benn's a drug cheat, then he's a drug cheat, innit? You know, and it's good that they're sniffing this out if Conor Benn has been a naughty boy, because you can't let fighters go in the ring dirty. I'm sorry. I know a lot of fighters probably do. And I know probably a lot of fighters have done in the past who still haven't been caught. You know, Jarrell Big Maybe Miller was a great example a few years ago. He's probably gone in the ring dirty a few times. Alexander Povetkin famously got to fight after he failed multiple drug tests, and I think Russia sanctioned the fight. He got a special license in Russia by the government or something, and he knocked out Johan de Wopa, apparently, when he was juiced to the gills. You know what I mean? He was probably juiced to the gills in other fights, Alexander Povetkin, because as soon as he stopped, cycling on steroids or cycling off or whatever he was doing, then Alexander Povetkin started to look, 40 years old in fights. So, it probably happens a lot in the sport, but, it's a bit of a slap in the face, if they let Conor Benn fight, after they've sniffed this out and they found something in his system. It's just not right, in my opinion. And I won't feel comfortable watching the fight knowing that Conor Benn is in the ring, after failing a drug test. It's just not, it just leaves a bad taste in people's mouth, So, yeah, it's all up in the air right now if this fight's going to happen. Eddie Hearn's confident it's going to happen. Team Eubank apparently haven't got a problem with it themselves, Chris Eubank Jr. don't want to let the fans down, and he'll probably fight Conor Benn if he is juiced to his gills or whatever. Chris Eubank Jr. apparently just wants to fight, and he just don't want to let the fans down who are paid. It's crazy that Chris Eubank Jr. has probably turned from the villain to the hero in the past 10, 11 hours, A lot of people are backing Chris Eubank Jr. now to batter Conor Benn, because a lot of people don't like drug cheats, and they don't feel comfortable with these guys getting in the ring. It's a dangerous sport. These guys are punching themselves in the head. So if you're going in the ring, enhance punching a guy in the head, it's disgusting. And, it shouldn't happen, but it probably does happen. Not probably, it does happen in boxing. But when it's there, evidence is right there and say, look, this guy has failed and you still let him fight, then it just don't leave a good taste in people's mouths. Comment below in the comment section. What do you guys think? Do you think the fight should still happen this weekend? Comment below in the comment section your thoughts on this situation. I'm out.